Good evening, my generals, admirals. Welcome back to Total War Wednesday, and welcome back to the Swedish campaign. Well, after our failed little foray into Berlin, we decided to retreat because Saxony was backing Berlin. So we marched our army outside of Saxony, but Saxony decided to follow us. And after a pitched, bloody battle, we managed to push the Saxonies back into Saxony. But unfortunately, Westphalia came up and took Hanover. And with a failed assault on Hanover, they pushed us back. So now we are regaining our army here and up in Copenhagen to make another push on Hanover. But in losing Hanover, we gained Cortland out of the favor and destroyed the nation of Cortland. Unfortunately, we still have a Russian army outside of Ingria, even though it is small. And another to the southeast. And one outside Karelia. But with it being Wednesday and the work week, we're going to be doing our classical 5 turns. So we're going to be going from turn 30 here to turn 35. So let us end our turn and continue with the Swedish campaign for Total War Wednesday. And the Prussians from Saxony decided to push us. They do outnumber us vastly. And unfortunately, the option to retreat is unavailable. And since it'll only be a small battle, we're just going to auto-resolve. And as predicted, we have a clear defeat.
Katastrophe!
And to begin turn 31, we have our army destroyed, Carl Gustav Anfilt. Then we have an enemy raid on Staria Adoba. And another enemy raid on Azia farmland. We have workers on strike in Cortland. And allies declare war. Austria against France. And we shall enter the war on the side of our ally. And we have a heroic death. Carl Gustav Hornfeld. We have a recruitment report. We have 3 units out of Denmark. And we'll begin up here in Karelia. We'll grab our army. And we'll attack these Russians up here. It's only a small unit. We're just gonna auto-resolve.
Makten och härligheten är med oss.
And we have a victory.
Marsch! Era order.
And we'll march back to Karelien.
Marsch!
And return them in. We'll come here and repair this logging camp. And this fur trader. We'll hold off on the governor's palace. And cobbled roads for the minute. We'll come over to St. Petersburg. Recruit some more line. And another regiment of horse. We'll come up here to Riga, Estonia, and Lavina. We'll raise up a unit of provisional cavalry. And raise a unit of militia here in Cortland. We'll return them in as best we can. Go to next turn to replenish. We'll come over to Stockholm. Recruit some militia. And we'll have Christopher Pullman duel this Russian agent. And he has a 45% chance.
Jag...
Som det behagar er.
And unfortunately, our gentleman has lost the duel, but survived. We'll try Jonas. And he has a 50% chance. Let's duel.
Hans...
And our gentleman has won the duel. And we have a trait gain for Jonas Aussumer, something of a blade. He has proved himself adept with a dueling sword on one or more occasion. This man has fought duels and won. This trait can be removed if the agent is defeated in a duel. And we'll come back here to the college. And we'll grab Sven. And we'll try to take out this gentleman here. And we have a 45% chance.
Jag kräver upp.
Et Spiritus Dei ferem.
Kan jag stå till tjänst ytterligare?
And the Russian agent was killed. And we have a trait gain for Sven Enderman, Steady Hand. A trembling hand might diminish accuracy and be misconstrued as fear. This man, however, stands motionless. This man has fought duels and won. This trait can be removed if this agent is defeated in a duel. And we have ancillary gain as Sven Enderman, dueling second. The wishes to know if you will give him an apology, or should I arrange for an undertaker to call? And with that, we shall move back to the college.
Utan dröjsmål, en lärdomens och kulturens
And we're here with the
högborg.
seasoning research for our naval. We'll swing down here and keep Rostock under blockade. We'll go over to Copenhagen. And we'll recruit some 12-pounder foot artillery. And up in Norway, we'll raise a unit of militia. Actually, no we won't, because I'm on sprinkler rough this. And up here in Greenland, we'll continue to blockade the fleet up here. And with that, we shall end our turn. And the Martha Confederacy is wishing an audience. They demand a trade agreement and give them improved animal husbandry, and they offer a trade agreement. I see no harm in it, so we shall accept. And the Barbary States are requesting an audience. They request a peace treaty, and they offer a peace treaty. And we don't negotiate with pirates, so we're going to refuse as always. And we have military technology research seasoning. The practice of setting green timber aside after it is felled to dry naturally so that it can be then used for shipbuilding. Seasoning takes time, as wood will dry out at its own pace once the tree has been felled and brought to the timber yard. Large sheds are required where the timber can be left in dry conditions for a year or more until ready to use. Some, as it dries, will warp and provide unstable for further work. In the case of oak, the wood actually gains strength over time as it dries out and settles into its final form. Historically, ships and warships in particular needed an enormous amount of timber of many different kinds. It could take a century for a tree to grow large enough for use, so shipwrights needed to use their materials carefully. In an attempt to save money in timber, the British Royal Navy had a policy of recycling parts from old ships, which sounds commendably green nowadays. But this had an effect of transferring old rot to new builds. The French preferred to build ships of unseasoned wood, maintaining the ships that had flexibility to work sailed better. And next technology to research will be naval shore facilities, but I think we'll be doing something else. And we have an agent recruited, Emanuel Swedenborg, out of Sweden. And we have a recruitment report out of Sweden. We have a militia. Out of Estonia and Lavinia, we have provisional cavalry. Out of Denmark, we have 2 units of 12-pounder foot artillery. Out of Ingria, we have a unit of line infantry and a unit of regiment of horse. And out of Cortland, we have a unit of militia. And we have ancillary gain for Jonas Alzheimer, industrial genius. Research points per turn for industrial technologies, 2. The road will be a path to your door, sir. Invest but a small sum. The jingling Elizabeth, and everyone will thank you. And we'll begin around here in the Denmark Copenhagen region. We have an enemy agent in Copenhagen we'll have to deal with. But we'll keep Rostock blockaded. We'll keep Denmark here, garrison, Copenhagen. Same with Stockholm and Norway. We'll grab Sven. And we'll try to duel with Joseph up here. And we have a 55% chance.
Han ska få plikta för sin fräckhet.
Et spiritus Dei ferem.
Jag avvaktar.
And our gentleman has won the duel. And we should move our gentleman back.
Utan dröjsmål. Jag måste hejda mig ett slag. Befälhavare.
Shall grab our gentleman here. And move him back to the college.
Som det behagar er. En lärdomens och kulturens högborg.
and release our church. Why not basic steam pump? Something about malfunctioning Russian weapons. That's probably why I'm winning on these duels. For the most part. But enough of that. We're gonna hold here in Sweden. In fact, we're gonna move Sven down to Denmark.
Ja. Utan dröjsmål.
That's Christopher.
Befälhavare.
We'll figure it out. We'll come back up here to the northeast. We'll grab our army. Losing still to a really good shape. And we'll shove free the ports here.
Banden redo.
And we shall do battle. And let's begin the deployment of the troops.
Ja, befälhavare. Utan dröjsmål. Ja, befälhavare. Utan dröjsmål. Ja, befälhavare. Utan dröjsmål. Artilleriet implementerat. Utför order. Ja, befälhavare.
Let the battle begin.
Befälhavare.
Ge fyr!
Order.
And we have a victory. And we shall have battle. And we have a heroic victory at that.
Seger! Vänster om! Marsch!
And we'll keep our army garrisoned here for the time being. Welcome to St. Petersburg. Let's just grab our cavalry. And we'll finish them off.
Gör den!
And we'll auto-resolve.
Segern är vår!
And we have a victory.
Mannar, framåt! Befälhavare!
And we'll split our cavalry. We'll send our 2 regiment of force back to St. Petersburg.
Mannar, framåt! Några fler order? Ja.
And we'll send our first light horse here.
Framöver! Allt mannar!
And we'll hold here in St. Petersburg. And we'll end our turn. And with no events happening for turn 33, we're going to begin here. And we'll grab our light cavalry, and we're going to chase Luca.
Jakta dem!
And since someone will be in a fight, we're just going to auto-resolve.
Segern är vår! Hurra!
Victory.
Marsch! Era order!
And since we can't move him anymore, we'll keep him here. But we have Leotoni trying to go up and grab Crylia. What we're gonna do? Just grab some of the army, move them up to the port.
Marsch!
And we're gonna stop the Russians from driving on to Karelia.
Vi ska segra!
And we shall attack. And let's deploy our army.
Ja, befälhavaren! Revikanon, vänster order! Befälhavaren!
Infanteri! Infanteri!
Battle begin.
Batteriet in!
Putin rapporterar.
And we have a victory. And we shall end the battle. And we have gained an heroic victory at that.
Segern är vår. Vi kan inte det, befälhavare. Ja, befälhavare.
And we shall grab the army here. Ooh, where's our army from? Oh yeah, that's right. We'll march our garrison back to Karelia.
Vänster om! Marsch! Befälhavare. Marsch! Ja, befälhavare.
And we'll keep the rest of the army here. Release Karelia's garrisons again.
Redo? Inväntar order.
We'll keep Stockholm garrison. Or St. Petersburg garrison. We'll grab the army here. Actually, we won't. We're going to retrain our cavalry. We'll end our turn. Before we do that, yes, we'll keep that area garrison as well. And now we'll end our turn. And the Barbary States request an audience. And, as always, they request a peace treaty, and yet, we're always going to deny them. So we're going to refuse. And to begin turn 34 here, we've had an enemy raid on Zabari Trap Post. Well, we'll still keep our garrisons here in Cortland and in Riga, Sonia, Livonia. We'll keep our eyes on this Russian army here.
Befälhavare.
We're gonna move our light cavalry back to the artillery fort.
Framåt. Marsch.
Train those men.
Era order.
We'll grab our army here and move them back to Ingra.
marsch! Invänta vidare order!
And return them best we can.
Beredskap!
And we'll move this unit back into Karelia.
Framåt! Marsch!
We'll keep this garrisoned.
Hur lyder orden,
We'll grab our
kapten?
ship. Sail them here.
Skeppsorder mottagna.
We'll move our gentlemen back to the college.
Som det behagar lärdomens och kulturens högborg.
We'll keep Stockholm garrisoned. And I see we have the Westphalian army moving up towards Copenhagen. So we're going to recruit some regiment of horse. And we'll end our turn. And for turn 35, our final turn for tonight for Total War Wednesday, the Swedish campaign for this week, we have enemy raid on Province Forest. We have an agent recruited, a rake out of Sweden. And we have a city besieged, Copenhagen. And we have an event. Black Sam Bellamy. 28-year-old pirate Captain Black Sam Bellamy, so called as he did not wear a white powdered wig, instead growing his own black hair, has been shipwrecked on a sandbar off the coast of New England with his flagship, Weda, and prize ships laden with booty. Just 9 men have survived the wrecks, 7 of whom have already been picked up and will stand trial for piracy. Bellamy begins his career trying to salvage some of the many shipwrecks along the Florida coastline, but soon turned to piracy when his chosen line of work proved fruitless. Joining the crew of Benjamin Hornigold, Bellamy soon proved his mettle and absurd power in command of the ship Mary. Before long, a second ship, Sultana, was taken in exchange for a 300-ton slaver Weda shortly after that. During a short career in piracy, Bellamy began known for his kindness, mercy, and generosity, both to his victims and the men who served with him, carrying with him the name, the Prince of Pirates. And we'll begin here in Denmark, Copenhagen. And we'll maintain the siege, or keep the siege going, or taking the siege at Copenhagen. We'll hold here in Stockholm. We'll hold here in Cortland. We'll check on the arm. I would say the army is relatively healed. So what we'll do is we'll grab the army here. Leave our militia behind. And we'll march here.
Några fler order?
And we'll keep Riga, Estonia, and Lavina garrison. We'll come up into St. Petersburg. We'll train the men. That's a little costly. We'll repair these clearances. Yeah, we'll repair your ship, right? And the fur trader. Train the men the best we can. And that will do it. Actually, no, we got this ship up here.
Kapten! Hissa segel! Minska segel!
And that will do it, my generals and admirals, for this installment for Total War Wednesday. I know it wasn't much, we didn't take any regions, but we are holding and consolidating what we have at the moment. Even though we lost Hanover, but Copenhagen is under siege, I am confident that we can hold Copenhagen and bleed the Westphalian army white. Then move in to take back Hanover and then take out the Westphalians and hold what we have there. But we did deal Russia a bloody nose in the east. We stopped their drive on Karelia, and we made mess of some of their scouting units up here also in Karelia region as well. But join me next Wednesday as we continue with the American experience. And join me tomorrow for Total War Thursday as we continue with the British campaign in Spain against Napoleon in Napoleon Total War Thursday. Well, I'll see you gentlemen later, and always remember, keep your uniforms clean and bright, your bayonets sharp and your muskets clean, and your flags always flying high. And I will see you gentlemen later.